Good morning, ladies. So I want to continue the conversation about fibre today. I said in the last video that I just think really it's a bit of an unsung hero, and I think it's getting lost in all the chat about protein. Not that I don't think protein's important, because it is, but I think that fibre is hugely important. And when I first started in the wellness field, I used to bang on about fibre hugely. So obviously, what we're most concerned about is how it affects us in terms of our symptoms in menopause. So I spoke the other day about estrogen levels and helping to kind of remove excess things from the gut. And this today is going to be about weight, and that thing that can happen to us, that we get that sort of redistribution of weight in perimenopause, menopause. We can tend to hold that weight around our stomachs. So if our fibre intake is helping us to get rid of excess estrogens, and possibly the less useful estrogen, then that helps us to kind of negate this thing that happens in terms of the redistribution of weight. So that's one good thing. The next thing is that it helps to flush out toxins. So we talked about excess estrogens, but we need to think about other things that come into our bodies as well. So anything really that goes, that we breathe in, that goes on our skin, that we're eating, that contains toxins, and there's all sorts. You cannot get away from toxins. You can do loads of things to help improve your exposure to them, but you cannot get away from them. So our bodies have to get rid of them. So if we're having plenty of fibre when the filtration system is working through the liver, so the liver's filtering everything, dumping it into the gut, if we're getting that fibre, it's taking those toxins away as well. Which basically flushes out the cells in the body. So it allows that flushing system to kind of continue to happen. So because again, if we're taking, say, excess fat out of the cells through the liver, excess toxins out of the fat through the liver, dumping it into the gut, but then the gut's not moving it out fast enough, then we're absorbing it back in. And all those things add to weight gain. Toxic cells will cause you to have extra weight. Okay, so next is the fact that it helps us to keep fuller for longer. So huge thing about protein doing that at the moment, but which I get. However, fibre really can. Okay, it sort of bulks out the intestine. If you're eating plenty of things like healthy grains, then it sort of bulks up in your system. It takes in water, bulks up in your system, and helps you to feel fuller for longer, which means that we're less likely to have crazy cravings and to be eating things that perhaps aren't serving us, because we're feeling fuller, we're feeling more satisfied. All helps towards weight loss, or maintaining a healthy weight. Let's put it that way. So there's that. It literally grabs onto fat as it goes through your system as well. So we put fibre in, it helps to grab onto fat, literally pulls it through your system and out the other end. So any excess fat that we might be taking in, perhaps, like through perhaps we've had a fatty meal or something, which we all do occasionally, or that extra bit of chocolate that you might have had, the fibre will help to pull the fat through your system. So the effects of those things will be less on your body, again helping us to get rid of any excess weight that we might be starting to hold on to in those menopausal years. So there's lots of things for us to look at there. I think we're probably starting to see how important it is. There's lots more for me to talk to you about, but I really wanted to touch on these things today, because I think we forget, that the whole protein thing and kind of feeding your muscles and one thing and another, it's great. Yep, we need protein, but we absolutely need the fibre. And there's no protein, there's no fibre in animal proteins, there's literally none. So if we're filling ourselves full of all this protein and we're focusing on that, there's a potential that we're actually not getting the fibre to kind of flush everything through our system, and we're missing out on something amazing. So the other thing being as well, just quickly to touch on, is that it improves your gut microbes. Huge topic. Again, each of these things that I'm talking about, I could talk about for hours because they're all topics within themselves. But it improves your gut microbiome. When your gut microbiome is more healthy, you will take in nutrients better, which feed your cells and stop them from clinging onto fat and toxins that we don't need, and helps to prevent inflammation in the gut, which then stops things like leaky gut. And also, when we're taking in those nutrients properly, it means again that we're not having the cravings so much, that we're not craving those sweet, sugary foods anymore, because our gut microbes are being fueled by this amazing food that's keeping them all healthy, and it stops that kind of thing that goes on between your gut and your brain, where your gut's saying, I've not had enough to eat, please can you go out and find some more, because we're full with the good stuff. So plenty of fibre in our diets, ladies. As always, work with it yourself. I tend to find that I need more of the stuff like the oats and quinoa, and even bread that I make at home, so kind of whole grain wheat, and that kind of thing, bran fibre. That tends to be the stuff that helps my digestion stay regular. When I eat loads and loads of fruit and vegetables, I can find that goes through my system a little bit too quickly, so that's not necessarily that good. I need a good range of both, but it tends to be that I need more of the sort of things like, as I said, like the rice and the grains and that sort of thing, to help my system stay nice and steady and smooth and not agitated. So play with it yourselves. Use different things, get different things into your diet, and see how they make you feel, and make a note of them. We're going to do a bit of a challenge next week, so I'm going to continue with the information and education on fibre next week, and then we're going to do a bit of a fibre challenge. So again, don't forget to check into the group in the community and let me know how you're getting on. If there's any questions you've got about fibre in particular, because that's the focus this week, or anything that's in the autumn resets pack that's within the classroom, if you've got any questions about any of that, then please let me know. And if you've got any questions about anything else, don't hesitate to pop those into the community or message me directly so that I can answer you. So I'll speak to you later, ladies. Bye bye.